What's up? What's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Let's get down to the situation. Let's talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 episode 5. It is going down. Mary Jane is back in the building and I'm back. I had to get a lot of personal things in order, but let's get to it. Let's talk about Miss Kenya Moore. Like, Lord have mercy, what is really going on? What is happening with Kenya Moore? I just can't believe like this whole situation with her and Britt got this bad. Like, OMG. I understand Kenya is going through a lot because when it comes to Mark Daly, he's filing bankruptcy, he's getting sued, so she's probably not even getting any child support from him or things of that nature. And also she might even feel intimidated because the old school girls from the Real Housewives of Atlanta are not really there. Porsha just diving in, and Porsha got so much going on, it's like she's not really giving us the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And when it comes to Drew Sidora, she got her own thing going on, and she's not really old school, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. There's no Candy Burris there, her friend, and now there's a bunch of new girls. And when it comes to Britt, she's in it to win it, and she's coming for Kenya Moore, okay? Because Kenya Moore didn't do nothing to that girl to make that girl talk about she carries a gun on her and she will whip somebody, or she carry a whip. Like, she got really mad and she got really angry because Kenya Moore was questioning her about, asking her about her marriage, asking her about her ring, and she took that as an insult. And then she sit down at the dinner table with Kenya or whatever event that they was at, and she was basically talking in third person, saying, I want to be treated like this. It's like she wanted a moment, and she did get the moment, and she did get upset. Kenya Moore was like, I'm over it. Everybody else at the table was over the whole situation. But in any event, so Kenya Moore hears Britt talking to her husband when she's saying take off the mic, and she's saying, you better be careful, don't play with me. I carry my pistol, I got a whip. I don't know what the whip was. Was she talking about pistol whip? Like, what's going on, girl? Like, there's no need to talk about violence, with a weapon or anything of that nature just because she called you a peasant, or she said she ain't got time for this, or don't come for me if I didn't send for you. You know what I mean? I think Britt wants to get her feet wet. She wants to make this a real big career for herself as being on reality TV and get them checks, baby. But at the same time, like, she went overboard. She didn't have to say all that, okay? I don't know if they checked her about it or whatever the case was. Maybe Kenya felt really threatened by the situation because Kenya Moore gets into the core, with Porsha or, Shamia, and basically she was like, you know what, I gotta get her, I'm gonna get her, she got to go. So Kenya Moore is now plotting. I don't know what's going on in the Kenya Moore world, but it just seems like something for her to bring a picture and things of that nature of, I can say the picture of having fillers or a nose job or dancing ghetto, being in like, a trap rap video, because that's what Kenya called it. But to bring the other picture, that's a whole lot, child. That's a whole lot. But let's get into this whole situation when it comes to Britt. So Britt, now she's at Shamia's house, and Shamia's there, and you also have Angela and Shamia. They make up from the Flavor Flav, which I thought comment was kind of like, okay, girl, do we got colorism going on over here? But so Angela, Britt, they're there, and they're questioning Britt about her behavior, and Britt was like, I don't want Kenya Moore to feel threatened. I don't want her to feel like, something's gonna happen to her. I wasn't trying to intimidate her. I wasn't trying to do this. I wasn't trying to do that or make her scared or anything. But why would you even say that? So she already knows that what she did was wrong, but I don't think she expected Kenya to go like the way Kenya did. But if you're talking about having a weapon and things of that nature on a show where, the most thing they do is hair pulling and a little bit of fighting, but they haven't really fought on the Real Housewives of Atlanta in a long, long time. It's been years. So to come with the, I'm going to bring a weapon, or I always carry my weapon, it's like, girl, you taking this way too deep. You going way too far, because Kenya Moore is not going to bust a grape on nobody. Like, she just talks her mess and she keeps it moving. She don't be lighting the fight unless she has to. And she really don't ever want to fight. You know what I mean? So it's just like, girl, so they're like, Britt, what's going on? And then Shamia and Angela are talking, and Angela says, I guess Shamia brings up, well, what do you think about what Porsha said about Charles, and knowing some tea on him, and she not saying nothing. And Angela was like, it's all good, ain't nothing they can really say or do that's gonna break me or tear my situation down. And then you have Britt basically says, I'll slap her in the face. She's quick to violence again. So is she just talking tough, or is she really tough? Or do people gotta worry about Britt? And what's Kenya like in fear? Like, so I gotta get this girl off the show, so I'm gonna, show pictures of her giving fellatio. Child, I can't believe Kenya even did that, child. Like, we know that Kenya's smart. We know Kenya knows a lot. Like, why? And it just makes you question, like, what is Kenya going through for her to go to that level? We know she brings the shade. We know she does a lot of other things, and she get people where it hurts with her reads. But to go this far, do she think she had to take it up a notch because there's new girls, new ages, and there's new desperation? Or did she really believe that this girl was going to come for her? Like, you can't make threats. You're making these empty threats. You don't know if the other person feels intimidated by these threats and end up reacting before you, because the worst person in the world is a person that is scared of you, because a scared person's going to take action. And I guess Kenya Moore took action, but girl, you could have went to revenge porn, child. It's not in that, on that level, but to show that, at your business, at your hair salon, at your spa, giving this girl all the attention that she wants. I don't know if Kenya thought that this was going to make this woman run away, never show her face again. No, it's going to make her cry victim. And Kenya Moore had the cards in her hand where she could actually cry victim, because you know what? I am afraid of her. Yes, she is threatening me. There's all threatening things that she has said in the past, or talking to other people. So, it's a problem. And I think Kenya got on the defense mode, and she didn't play victim. I mean, she went to, get the girl where it hurts, child. And baby, she sure did. Boy. And so now we get to this whole situation where Porsha, she sits down with Britt and she has a conversation. Let her know, like, hey, yeah, I know all this other stuff that went on, but what about you talking about you got a pistol, you got this, you got that? She was like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, blah, blah, blah. And maybe I could make it better, because Porsha gave her an example. And now if I would have said something like that after arguing with somebody, what does that look like? That's like a threat and things of that nature. So, Britt feels okay. All right. And then Porsha calls her out, like, maybe you think that she's coming for you, but she wasn't coming for you. She was just asking you a question. And I know when Kenya's coming for somebody, because she done came for me 1,000 times. Okay, girl? So I'm just looking at Porsha. Porsha, never thought in a million years that Porsha and Kenya Moore would be, have camaraderie, be cool, kind of stick up for one another, even though, they ain't on the best of terms, but they old school OGs, and you got the new school coming in. But Porsha's not really trying to ruffle any feathers. She's playing it safe so far this season. We're only on episode 5, but we'll see. But what was really cute when Kenya Moore and Kelly and Porsha was at the spa, and Kenya Moore was like, I got security right here, and Kelly was like, I got security outside. Porsha was like, I am my security, okay? I don't have security, I just got myself. And we know Porsha can fight, so Portia's all right. I think that was pretty funny, or whatever. And plus, we know that she's going through a divorce, and Simon is, with the immigration people. You know what I'm saying? So at this whole point, she's trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. That's what it looked like. And she's just trying to get her money right. And right now, she ain't got time. And she ain't got money to waste on security when she can fight, child. But in any event, it was so good to see Lawrence. Lawrence came, he gave Kenya Moore her props. He gave her roses, and basically said it was you that had me do a hair clip or do this when it came to the beauty industry. Like, you opened the doors for me. Like, you graced me with that. And then I just took it by storm. And that was really good to see, And then we get to the situation where Britt, she's there, And everybody's like, okay, we don't know what Kenya got in store. But Porsha, it's like Porsha knew that Kenya was going to go crazy. It's like every little step that Kenya was taking, Porsha was reading every single move. Like, this is only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Where's she going to go with this? And when it comes to Portia's probably thinking, girl, I don't need you to get kicked off the damn show, okay? I don't need you to get suspended. I don't need you to do something where, you can't show your face. And I think Porsha felt like Kenya had that in her. Kenya was going to go farther than she ever went before on this show. And I think Porsha felt it, she read it, or she knew, child. But in any event, Porsha's not really feeling Shamia. Shamia and Porsha ain't really friends. Porsha's kind of jealous of Shamia. Shamia got it going on. The life that Shamia has, that's what Porsha has been, striving to get when it comes to Cordell. And then when it comes to Simon, when it comes to her baby daddy, you know what I mean? Dennis McKinley, she was striving, and Dennis McKinley ain't gonna spend money like Shamia man is spending money, or how Simon was spending money. Nope, he ain't gonna spend money like that, child. So it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Britt, she brought some flowers. Porsha let her know, child, your flowers, and you ain't even really welcome in here, okay? And then look at Porsha's face. Porsha got her head down. She got her hand on her pocketbook, and she's looking at the table. She's just like, damn, she's like biting her lip. She's moving her lip around. She got her head down because she knows this is only gonna go worse. She knows that it's just gonna be so bad for the show. It's gonna be so bad for everything, and Porsha's just trying to hold on to everything. She's just trying to film at that house. She's just trying to show you some businesses that she got to get it going. And plus, they want the season to be a good season because we don't have, Candy Burris is not here. You don't have Marlo. You don't have, Sheree. You don't have Nene Leakes, and we haven't had Nene Leakes for a while, for a long time now, and Phaedra ain't here yet, you know what I'm saying? Phaedra ain't here, so it's like, really, it's for Porsha and Kenya to really carry what they carry, Drew to be Drew. And, when it comes to Cynthia, she's like a part-time cast. She's going to do what she's going to do. Shamia's tried her best to bring it, and she ain't running from nobody. But when it comes all down to it, if the season failed or if the season's boring, they're going to point at Porsha and they're going to point at Kenya Moore off rip. So in any event, you can just look at Porsha. She just looks like she's so defeated, and Kenya Moore is in her glory. She's like, I'm gonna expose her. I got these blown up. I got a PI. Like, nobody in production seen that Kenya Moore had these big old blow ups and pictures of Britt. You know what I mean? As far as her having filters, her getting a nose job and changing her face. To me, Kelly looks like Little Kim. But in any event, and the posters are sitting right there. Nobody looked at the posters. Nobody looked at the reveal. Nobody knew that, Kenya Moore was going to expose Britt. You know what I mean? So it's just like, child. And we already know this is just a mess. This is, it's just... And Kenya Moore is just angry, and she's doing it, and she really thinks that she's in the right. And that's the sad part, that Kenya Moore thinking that she's really doing something. And she was like, you try to take food out of my daughter's mouth. It's like, damn, Kenya, you're taking food out of your own mouth by doing this. She had no rationality with the whole situation, as far as like, this is bad, this won't look good on TV, this is kind of a family channel. I'm showing pictures, I'm exposing a woman giving fellatio to somebody. That could be considered harassment, a sexual harassment. That is considered so many different things. And her contract is like, child, it's like all that went out the window. Whatever Kenya Moore is going through, she was going through it. And it's just like, she was just possessed where I'm blocking you from hurting me. You know what? Nobody else is going to hurt me anymore. And Kenya Moore has said in the past that she felt threatened because other women had their husbands, they had men around, and it's just been her, really. So then she goes, who is this hoe? She got that up there, and there's a whole lot going on, and everybody's just like, I can't believe it. Some of the people was cheering her on in the crowd that are her, day one heartbeat fans or whatever. Everybody else is like, child, girl, do you know what you're doing? This is not right. You know what I mean? I know a lot of us are desensitized to a lot of lot of people's action of doing, exposing people, because you have OnlyFans, you see people on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok with beef, and they will expose your whole family and your children, okay? But this is they getting paid some millions to be on this show, so some of the things you can't do. And also, Britt could probably sue if Kenya Moore was still there. So Kenya pushed their back up against the wall with this situation. I wish she would have talked it over with somebody. I wish she would have talked to a lawyer. She would have just talked to somebody first before she did this. But it just seems like there's so much going on in Kenya Moore's life. Like, she's like, damn, I'm still here. I'm still trying to defend my crown. I got all these new chicks coming. And, one of them's coming for me, and they all cool. And it's like the new chicks are not going through the hazing of going through, like a Nene Leakes, a Marlo Hampton, a Sheree Whitfield, Kenya Moore is there, and then you got Porsha, then you have Phaedra. Usually when you come on the show, you're gonna have to you can go through the seasoned vets. It's not such a easy ride. You gotta prove yourself. But since most of the vets are not there, it is what it is. So y'all tell me what y'all think about this whole situation, child. This is a mess. This is a mess. Like, Kenya, child, like, what's going on? So then you got Cynthia Bailey. She made sure she got her camera time to let you know that you are bigger than this. You are better than this. I just can't believe this. And she's just pretty much through, and she leaves. And Kenya Moore says, yeah, I am better than this, but you already know. Cynthia done already did interviews and said that, Kenya was wrong. This is just like, she called her out and let her know that this is dirty. Okay, friends or no friends, you did wrong, and I'm not defending you. I'm not making no excuses for you. It is what it is. And you already know Cynthia knows that is wrong. I know that's wrong. It is wrong. But Cynthia also had, some get back from the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, when Kenya Moore didn't have her back, when the girls was coming for Cynthia, calling Cynthia crazy, and was like, oh, Cynthia was not fitting in. Cynthia was going through all that other stuff. Okay. She got her get back at Kenya. This was the get back. She got the get back, clap back by basically, and then on top of that, she's standing on a high ground, a high mountain. Okay, and Kenya Moore felt some type of way too as well, because she seen that interview, and Kenya Moore made sure, she liked a clip where Nene was basically describing or basically telling people how much Cynthia is not a friend, and she's not a true friend, she's not a real friend, and things of that nature, a long time ago when she was on Watch What Happens Live. And Kenya Moore either posted it or she liked it, okay? Calling Cynthia like, girl, you ain't my friend. So in that whole situation, Bravo's basically saying, due to the graphic natures of these photographs, Bravo has decided not to show or exhibit any of it, okay? They try not to get sued, okay? Kenya went all the way in. Kenya thought that she was on the Zeus Network, child. And in any event, Bravo says, based on Kenya's behavior, the decision was made to cease filming with her this season. So we're not going to see Kenya Moore the rest of the season. So we shall see how the ladies are going to get along this season, what's going to happen, since a big part of, of the show has been axed. And we shall see if they're going to bring Kenya Moore back, or if they're going to let Britt go and bring Kenya Moore back next season, or will Kenya Moore decide to just move forward and not come back to Bravo? Because it seems like when it comes to Kenya, that she feels like, they should have her back, because Kenya posted on social media. So Kenya Moore recently posted to her Instagram account right after the episode of season 16 episode 5 finished, and basically it didn't seem like Kenya was copping any pleas or apologizing or saying sorry to anybody. And it also seems like she was calling out production, because she's basically stating in her Instagram post that, last season there was so much that was supposed to be filmed in her salon, her spa, and it wasn't, and it didn't happen, and it didn't go down. And she cried about it because they cut it out, her hard work, and she felt a certain type of way. So maybe things just ain't been right between her and production. And this is what she posts to her social media account. She says, "You have been my bestie for the last 12 years, and I love and appreciate you so much. Last year, you cried with me when all of my hard work from the salon was cut by production and none of it was shown." So she's basically feeling a certain type of way already. She's calling out production. She's not saying no apology to Britt or anything of that nature, okay? She let, Miss Lawrence know that you're wonderful, you're beautiful. Thank you for gracing our TV screen and all this other good stuff. And also, she thanks him and says that she hopes to turn our segment into a TV show, God willing. So it seems like Kenya Moore has something cooking up with Lawrence when it comes to spa and hair and everything, and she's hoping that the segment that they do actually turns into a TV show, okay? That they have their own show together so she can branch off from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because it seems like she's tired of fighting with these girls. She don't fought enough, and she's tired of proving herself, and she just tired, child, because for Kenya Moore to go where she went, tonight, she just done. She wasn't even thinking clearly, man. Something was going on. But in any event, Kenya Moore did wish the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16. She wishes them a incredible season, and that is it. That's all she got to give, okay? So it's up to Kenya Moore if she's going to come back on the show. Is she going to be asked back? I guess she got a whole lot of thinking to do, okay? Claudia Jordan was in the comments, okay? Also, Latoya Forever was in the comments, and Dennis McKinley. All right, so it is what it is. It doesn't seem like Kenya Moore is sorry, and if she is sorry, she's telling the executives and the execs on the production. She ain't telling the public, because I really think Kenya don't feel like she was wrong. She feel like there was a threat, and she was trying to get that threat off her back by any means necessary. And when I say any means, child, she went down that road.